Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Jim Stroud podcast. Today, we have with us a very special guest. Special guest, tell us, who are you and what do you do?
I am Steven Puri, and I'm bringing you some therapy, some expose, and all truth. Or I heard that somewhere. I don't know. Have you heard that? You
I have heard
heard that?
that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have. Uh, so I am Steven Puri. I run a flow state app and community around people who want to get more done in less time.
Mm,
Super big fan of that. Probably the most fun thing for people listening at home or driving in their car. I've been a senior executive at two motion picture studios and also raised over $21 million of venture, had a successful exit, had two failures. And it's what I learned working with a lot of high performers that I put into an app to help people do something with their lives. Like, you're very familiar with this idea of just like, how do you use the scarce resource of time in your day
oh, yeah.
to do something great, man? So hopefully we can share some actionable tips and some fun stories.
Sure. For even more context for those listening, two of the movies that you helped produce are two of the greatest movies of all time, in my
Alien
opinion.
versus Predator 9? What? What? You said you
No,
hated
speaking
that.
of Die Hard and the Wolverine, because I'm a comic geek.
Okay,
So,
let me just qualify this now. Studio franchises like the Die Hard franchise have like 4,000 fingerprints on them, right?
ah,
So I'm solely one of the stewards of that franchise in the later days. I would like to tell you I was the guy who helped get Die Hard, the original one, made because that is an amazing movie.
yeah,
And
my
when you're a
favorite.
studio executive, I'm going to tell you, every week a couple people come into your office, writers, and they pitch you straight up. Okay, so it's basically Die Hard in a with a near, you know what I mean? Like, because it's such an amazing story model. They're just like, you get it. It's kind of like this contained thriller on a space station with a female hero, that sort of thing, right? So I would love to say it. I was on Die Hard 5. Not a great movie. Please don't blame me. Let's just get it out there. Let's be a little honest here, right, man?
So
So,
you're the reason why Die Hard in the Convent didn't work, didn't come out. Is that right?
okay, can I tell you, Die Hard 5 was the reason I left film. It it
Wow.
it was it was the moment with my boss, who is the chairman of Fox Film and Entertainment, where I'm like, it is the most exciting thing on my slate for him. He's just dying to get this made, and it is the worst script on my slate.
Mm,
To back up, the way a studio is structured is you have the big decision maker, the chairman, chairwoman, and then you have like usually 6 to 8 senior executives, like different flavors of vice president, EVP, SVP, EVP, right? And the studio slate is divided among them. So let's say you are the chairman of Warner Brothers, right? And I'm one of your EVPs. We have 300 projects we're developing. It could be books we bought, we want to turn into movies, Harry Potter. It could be the Lego movie, some licensed IP. It could be scripts we bought. It could be pitches from a director, right? So you turn to me, you go, Steven, listen, there's 6 y'all. You're one of the 6. I have 300 things in development. These 50, I need you to be the steward, right? Like, buy things you love, try and get them made, take the studio franchises, try and make another Batman, that sort of thing, right? So I was the guy. How they got me to leave DreamWorks was, well, number one, they doubled my salary. And number two, said, hey, you probably grew up on Die Hard, right? Do you want to be the guy running the Die Hard franchise at Fox? And I was like, really? Wow. If you told that to like 13-year-old me, I'd be like, no way. Right. So I said yes. And Die Hard turned out to be the thing where when we were working on it, there was so much studio pressure to make it, regardless of quality, that I had that
mm,
moment of like, what am I doing here? Like,
mm.
no one actually thinks this is going to be a good movie. But my boss is like, hey, man, we will sell X number of tickets the first weekend, regardless if it's good, just because they want to see Bruce beat John McClane. So just make it for less than that, and the risk is zero. And I was like,
Wow.
inspiring,
Wow.
right? I mean, it makes you want to get out of bed and work hard, doesn't it?
Wow. 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 So disillusioned.
I'm so sorry, but you know what? I'll tell you this: I worked on some movies that actually, like, even though they were big commercial films, they were about something. Like Star Trek 11, if you remember the reboot with Chris and Zach.
Mhm. Yeah.
So at the time, I was with Alex Kurtzman, Bob Orsi at DreamWorks, and the movie is really, if you look at the organizing principle of the movie, it's Cain and Abel. Like the movie was about something.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kirk and Spock they are two brothers who are on the path to kill each other. And they lose the movie until the moment they get over their shit and they become friends. And then they can win the movie. And the entire plot moves around those two, almost like binary stars circling each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Like, is this going to
Mm-hmm.
be a supernova, or is this going to be, that is a movie I think was actually kind of about something. And by the way, should you ever watch it again, I die in Star Trek 11
Do
when
you?
Spock, there's the battle and Spock jumps in Kirk's chair and he
Yeah.
calls down to Bones, right? He's
Yeah.
like, Bones, I need, Chief Medical Officer Puri, whatever. And Bones is like, Chief Medical Officer Puri was killed on deck 6. And he's like, well, then you're Chief Medical Officer now, Bones. I'm paraphrasing. And my assistants at DreamWorks thought it was so funny that they made a plaque and they replaced my plaque on my door at DreamWorks with a new plaque that had the little Star Trek, the logo. And next to it said Steven Puri, MD, underneath deck 6, Lido. Because the joke was I died on deck 6 during the battle, and deck 6 was the Lido deck. So it's probably us playing shuffleboard. It's not a
That is
noble
so
deck.
cool.
Not a noble deck. Anyway, back to you. We're not
Yeah.
even helping people. We're just telling silly stories. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking as you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, you've done a lot, and to accomplish a lot, I think you give credit to the flow state. So talk
True.
a little bit about the flow state. What exactly is that?
You are playing right to my heart. Jim, I thank you for having me on. Okay. So some people I know at home are like, dude, I'm a flow master. I get this, and more power to you. There was probably a subset of people at home on the car who are like, I've heard of it in passing. I sort of have some sense of it. I know it's like this new thing that everyone's talking about. Let's just set the table so everyone's on equal footing, which is there's a guy, Hungarian American psychologist named Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. He had a thesis. He's like, high performers in these different disciplines, athletes, artists, inventors, they get in these concentrated states where they do the things that make them famous, that move the world. And they describe those states in very similar ways. What's that about? So, like Prometheus, he wanted to go up on the mountain, steal some fire, bring it down to the rest of us. When he did his research, he wrote this book called Flow, which is the reason we call it a flow state. That is the seminal work on this. And he said, I chose this title because it's the most beautiful metaphor I can find for the fact that we're all on the water trying to paddle ourselves forward. But if you align yourself with the current, it carries you forward. It magnifies your effort. And he wanted to lay out, here are the characteristics of it. People call it different things. Like Michael Jordan has that famous quote about when I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can call it different things. And Mihai's like, call it what you want. I'm calling it flow. But man, it is a thing. It's not just this random thing that like Picasso can do and Michael Jordan can do, and like the guy who invented Siri or Bing. It is it's here are some of the characteristics. You lose track of time. You're not staring at the clock, right? You don't even think to look up. You block distractions. You're focused on the thing you're doing. He said, it only seems to happen if you are doing something you think is meaningful. Nobody's doing this when they're stapling papers or like shuffling furniture or something like that. It's you're doing something, you go, there's a reason I'm doing this. You have to have skills that apply, he said. So it's not, Michael Jordan painting, and it's not Picasso trying to throw a ball, right? And you have to be challenged at it. So it's not like, Michael playing an exhibition game in his son's high school, it's NBA finals. It's Picasso standing back and going, I think this is Guernica. This is what I wanted to create, right? And speaking of which, he said, it has to be something where you get like immediate feedback. You get in a flow state because there's some way to know, how am I doing? You're not just spending your time spinning your wheels going, am I moving or not? So the output of this is you finish your work sooner, you feel better, you do your best work. And man, if you could have that, like, why do anything else?
Yeah. Yeah. As you said, I was thinking about different projects I've worked on over time,
Do tell.
and nothing is more disruptive, I think, to a flow state than a meeting reminder or the phone ringing or that kind of thing. Are there ways that companies can help accentuate the flow state in their employees to get the most productivity out of them?
Yes. And let me give you a two-part answer. First part is if you listening are an individual contributor, like you are doing the work that moves your company or your own company forward, or you're writing blogs for your own blog or whatever it is, right?
Mm.
There are techniques you can use to get into flow and stay there and be there reliably. Or if you're a leader and you're like, I want my team to be doing great stuff, right? There are conditions precedent you can set that helps that happen, right? I want
Mm.
our company to be one of those where people walk into the staff meeting and they're not like, hey, I returned all my emails and I filed my reports. But they say the thing where we're like, dude, what Jim said, we should do that. That changes like the trajectory of our company. Let's do that now, right? You want that
Mm.
kind of meeting, not
Mm-hmm.
stand up where everyone reports in like, I closed my Jira ticket. Okay, good for you. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that said, let's talk a bit about how do you create this either in your own life or in your team's life. And yes, I make a flow state app. There are other great ones out there. There are different pieces you can put together. So I can talk about mine reliably, but there are also wonderful ones out there. Number one, you talked about distractions, right? Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, I heard my WhatsApp. That was a little ding of my email.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a DM, something like, those are designed by the smartest designers on earth. They have A/B tested that to where it is the most addictive Pavlovian thing, and you are going to reach over for your phone, right? Because let's not kid ourselves. What stands between you and who you could be, whether that's you as a billionaire, you as someone who's retiring at 30, you as, your team, what stands between you are guys like Mark and Elon and that crew where they're like, hey man, I have $1 trillion business. Our business model, very clearly laid out in our S1, was steal your life.
Mm.
And straight up, full stop. That's what I want to do. So, Jim, if it's cool, can I have your life? I'm going to sell it to this
Yeah.
advertiser. Yeah, I'm going to sell it to this advertiser. I'm going to keep the money, and I'm going to give you some dancing cat videos. Is that cool? So I just need your life, man. And it's really easy if you don't have intention to fall into that. Be like, well, I'm just going to it's a quick DM, or I'll just scroll for a minute, and
Mm.
there goes like half an hour of your life gone, given away.
Yeah.
So to be able to counter that in your own life or in the lives of your team, there's some tools you can use. I'll give you an example. I know I have a problem, which is I procrastinate in the morning, and during the day,
Mm.
I get distracted. So I was like, why do I get distracted? And if anyone at home, playing home alone, feels this, God bless. I found that when I would get that impulse to pick up my phone, it was usually I was coding something and I hit that, oh man, why isn't my build working? And it's like that frustration. Or I was trying to like write something for our website and the muses were not singing. And in that moment of frustration, we're like, hey, there's an instant dopamine sitting right here. My hand just reaches over without even thinking, going, I'm just going to quick check WhatsApp. And while I'm in there, a friend sent me a link to a YouTube video that I'd love. I click that, boom, half an hour gone like that, right? So what we did, for example, is, our website, when you start in the morning, hit play button begins your music, and you can shoot a QR code with your phone. As soon as I shoot that, just tap that QR code on my phone, put my phone down. When I pick it up, my smart assistant in the computer says to me, hey, Steven, do you need to be on your phone? And it just gives me that 1 second nudge of who do I want to be? Because there's a path where I turn into, hey man, I'm retired at 30. I mean, I'm over 30 now, but I'm retired at 30. I'm on the path I want to be. And there's a path to, I'm that grumpy dude on the sofa at 80 going like, well, I could have written that book. I could have
Right.
started. I had that idea, but you know what I did? Oh, I double tapped. I spent my life scrolling, double tapping. Right. So there are tools like that. Same thing, like Freedom, like a bunch of companies make great website blockers. Use them, offer them for free to your team. Just go, hey, if you want to finish earlier in the day, do better work, this is available. We have 5 licenses. They're cheap, cost $15, whatever. Like, easy thing. So, for example, with Suka, when you open up a website that's on your distraction list, you just get a little pop up that says, it seems like Facebook is a distraction. And you have a button to close it, or your button to say, no, I need to be on here. I'm posting some stuff for my business or something or whatever, right? And it just gives you that 1 second to say, who do I
Mm.
want to be? What distracts you when you're working? What are the things that get you?
It gives me.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes I watch the news a little too much. I can
Mm.
turn the TV off and stop looking at breaking news for a minute.
A little doom scroll action.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I know, me
I definitely
too.
do that.
Do you find you do that at the beginning of the day when you're getting working or during the day as like a mental break?
During the day when I'm working. And then
Yeah.
what I try to do, I try to turn it off in the beginning. I say I'll just watch for a few minutes to get it out of my system, and then I'll turn it off supposedly. But then I end up just muting it, and it's still on. So then I sort of glance over, you
Right?
know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Dude, I hear you. One of my biggest problems, just to be super vulnerable and, I have feet of clay, is I would do this. Jim, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., you know what? I'm going to start writing that blog post I need to do, right?
Mm,
And at 9:15 tomorrow morning, I'd still be kind of like returning some emails that didn't really need to be returned, doom scrolling. Like I
yeah.
usually read the news right before I start work. So it'd be like 9:30. And then I'm like, okay, I should, come up with an idea for the blog post. And I've wasted half an hour. And I looked at that because the pain from that is felt at the end of the day.
Mm,
From those decisions, I would feel like 6 o'clock when I'd be like, man, I was busy all day, but I didn't get the blog post done. And I suck. You know what I'm going to do, Jim? I'm going to get up early tomorrow and then I'll finish today's work tomorrow morning before I start tomorrow's work. And I would tell
mm.
myself that lie each night because, like, Domino's during the week would be like Wednesday night. I'd be like, okay, you know what? I needed to get this feature built. I'll finish it in the morning and then tomorrow I'll do Thursday's work. Right. And I realized this is a pattern that was not only delaying my ability to get stuff done, move my life forward, my company forward, but also it started to become a pattern in my head of like, I suck. Like, I'm just not getting stuff done. I'm stuck in the mud. I feel like I'm drowning. Like, oh,
Hmm.
this lingers on. And it started to affect me. And my wife was like, what do you need to do to like get back in control of your day? And I'll give you a simple example of what I did. You know that process, which I think started at Toyota, of like the 6 whys, right? Why this? Well, then why that? Well, then. So I was like, well, why does it happen at 6 o'clock? Well, because at 9 a.m. I didn't start. Well, why didn't you start at 9 a.m.? Well, I wanted to read the news or I want to return some emails. Well, why? Well, because I was procrastinating. Well, why are you procrastinating? I realized it was because I felt overwhelmed. I
Okay.
realized that the feeling I had in the morning was I would look at my task list and maybe the 17 things on it all had to be done. They weren't bullshit, right? But it's kind of daunting. It was almost like paralysis of like, well, I'm not going to finish them all. Where do I start? It was just like, oh, or there was something on there that was so big. How do I make a dent in that? Like I have an 11 a.m. with Jim. There's no way I'm going to write my book by 11 a.m. Why
Yeah.
start? And that feeling of overwhelm paralyzed me. And that's why I was procrastinating. And I thought, you know what? What if, and this could sound so stupid simple, but what if I had a little smart assistant that helped me prioritize and pick three things? Hey, Steven, I see your task list, but it really seems like these are the three that you need to get done. And I can agree or not, or I can name different ones. And as soon as I hit that play button and the music starts and my stuff gets blocked, I can only see those three. The assistant hides the other 14. And if there's something on there that's huge, my assistant's like, hey, man, write your book feels like a goal. It's not a task. Outline chapter 3 feels like a task. How about we do that in 30 minutes? And suddenly that morning cold start thing of like, I'm stalling, I got over, which helps that end of the day, oh man, I suck kind of feeling. And that was a big one for me, especially how I was showing up with Laura, you know, my wife, who's like,
Mm.
a better mood now. And I'm like, I am, which is good because I've got a kid coming, as you know, like time is going to
Yeah.
become even more scarce. Anyway, back to you, Jim. Long story on my part. Sorry about
No,
that.
that's very cool. That's very cool. I'm have to try this app out. But one thing that I've been sort of experimenting with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to add your app to my list. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a couple of things I was experimenting with. One is binaural beats. I came across this internet video where it says you listen to this music it will emit gamma rays to your brain and help you concentrate. I'm like,
Well, it'll
okay, let's
stimulate,
try
yeah,
that.
gamma waves in your brain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, do you have good headphones?
Yeah. So it
Okay.
seems to work. And I think what it's doing is putting me in some kind of hypnotic or slightly hypnotic state or something,
Yeah.
and it's just saying now that I'm super focused, I can just hypnotically work on one thing or whatever I'm working on at the time.
I
So I
love you
think it kind of
discovered that.
works.
I got a question for you. So
Okay.
historically, before binaural beats came into your sphere of awareness, right?
Yeah.
Did you listen to music?
Um, yeah, sometimes.
What kind of music?
Sometimes. What kind?
Yeah. What would you listen to
Oh,
when you're working? Not when you're
um,
like Friday night out being, getting jiggy.
more like trip hop music. So music without
Oh,
yeah,
I love trip hop.
yeah. For those who don't know trip hop, groups like Morchiba, 07,
Yeah.
um, Tricky, people like that.
Is Portishead in there?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Portishead would be in their group,
I was
sure,
a big
sure,
Portishead fan. Yeah. Okay.
sure.
Super cool. That is a great segue to music and the power of music and flow states. Can I
Okay,
talk about that for a minute or two?
yeah, please.
Okay. So, and by the way, anything smart that I say is because there have been really smart people who've done research on this. I happen to have read it and I just want to bring it, right? So
Mm.
do not think that I think I'm smart. I'm just saying, like, hey man, how can I make this available? Right? Okay, okay, okay. So there, since Mihai said I want to quantify, I want to name this thing, this like wonderful sort of state. A lot of people have done research on like, okay, what are all the little conditions precedent or the ingredients to get into flow, right? Music is obviously a big one because it really, that oral environment, oral AU, oral,
Hmm.
can really help you block out the world.
Yeah.
It's one of the first things we built in Suka was just, I have a ton of friends who are film composers because my old career who have time on their hands. So I wrote tons of music. So the research shows for most people, and this is maybe why trip hop, I saw you yawn. It's okay. I bore you. I get that. I get that.
No, it's
It's
not
cool.
you. It's not you.
Exactly.
Long night.
So you're just out late at that Morchiba concert. I get it. So a lot of research shows that 60 to 90 beats per minute, certain key signatures,
Mm.
ambient, non-vocal, rhythmic music is the sweet spot for a lot of people to get into flow. Now, we all have a friend who listens to, 90s gangster rap to get into the zone or
Yeah, boy.
I'm just saying, like, we all have that friend who's like, oh no, man, it's like totally Tupac for me. It's, okay, great, or whatever, or Chopin or whatever it is. But there is a middle of the road here that works for most people. And we originally designed Suka around that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put 1,000 hours this because I had friends. I could say, here are the specs. The research shows it's this. Could you be creative within this box? Write this, right? So they did, which is really cool. And then I discovered binaural beats. It was actually a friend in SF who was like, you don't have headphones? And I was like, no, I just kind of like, work at my laptop. Am I not cool? He's like, dude, then you can't do binaural beats without headphones. And for those playing at home, binaural beats is where there is a delta, there is an offset between your left and right channels. So in order for you to really experience that, you have to be able to feed different channels to each ear. So you have to have, AirPods or earbuds or
Sure.
something. So you can't just listen to it out in open air, right? So again, there was a body of research around, look, if the difference in, the offset between the channels is like 40 hertz, 40 cycles per second,
Mm.
it seems to stimulate the brain in this way, or, this 36 cycles this way. And there's this big debate about like, alpha, gamma, delta brain waves. And this is really for focus. This is for creativity. Now, I have friends that swear by it. I'll tell you this. When I discovered this, I was like, let's experiment with this and throw up some playlists in Suka. Some people use them exclusively. We noticed the user behavior was if you were into it, that was all you used. Those playlists were all you listened to. And some people sampled it. And then a funny thing happened that expanded our thinking a little bit, which is a friend who's an audio engineer up in Marin, does a lot of like Lucasfilm game stuff. He was with his family. I think it was his kids' like high school graduation trip or something in Nepal. And he came back. He's like, dude, I was in Kathmandu and it rained. And it was this beautiful, lush rain that went on for hours. And I had my recording equipment because, I am me. and I recorded 2 hours of it. Do you want it? And I was like, sure. So we threw it up as this 2 hour playlist, and I called it Himalayan Dream Rain. I don't know. See if anyone likes it. It's our third most popular playlist now. And it is just this lush, delicious, warm rain in Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
That led us to go, well, let's experiment some more. So we got a stream in Japan. We got Emerald Lake up in China. We hear the little birds and the surf in Cyprus. And then someone said, as members often do, they have the good ideas. If you listen, people will tell you good stuff. Someone said, this is just after the pandemic, I really miss coffee shops. I used to go and write in this coffee shop near me. We found someone, I don't know who it was, recorded 2 hours of a coffee shop in Vienna, Austria, where you just hear like the espresso machine and like the plates clanking, stuff like that. It's kind of odd, but it did give you that weird feeling of like, I'm kind of like here and in the thing. And it reminded me, and this is a little film story, in West Hollywood, across from the Directors Guild on Sunset Boulevard, just west of Fairfax, there's a Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf that's famous for being like a writer's clubhouse. When I was an executive at DreamWorks and at Fox, I'm not a writer, man. I can write you an email and go like, hey, I'll see you at 11. That's about all I got, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have to read a lot of scripts. I would go there because when you walked in the door there was an energy of people trying to do something, largely screenwriters. And you'd go in there and, in the corner would be like the old weird guy who's writing 3 studio movies. He makes $1 million a script sitting in a corner because this is his habit for the past 15, 20 years, whatever. He goes to this coffee and writes. And meanwhile, on the little communal table to your left, there are 2 girls who just got off the bus and they're, hunting and pecking their first TV pilot sort of thing. And everyone's in there sort of doing the thing. Minimal talking, not a big social hour, but a vibe. I thought that was really cool. And it was called to my attention about, I want to evoke that. If you could just give me that sound of being in a coffee shop, I could be here at home and feel like I'm a writer in maybe a Parisian coffee or, in some Viennese coffee shop. And I bring all this up to say, creating your oral environment can be a really important part of being in flow and staying there. So consider it when you're looking at how you want to dive in. And by the way, Brain FM is great. Andel is great. You can find there's a bunch of lo-fi playlists on YouTube that are free. You don't have to we have 3 lo-fi playlists. You don't have to use Suka. Like, you can seek it out. There's some really cool music. When you find your groove, like, you've found with Tchaikovsky, stick with it, do your thing. Anyway, back to you in the studio, Jim.
That's pretty cool. If somebody wanted to reach out to you for more information or download this magical app, how can they do that?
Yeah, my email address is super public. If there's anything I've said on here where someone's like, oh man, who's that Hungarian dude? Can I read something? Email me. I will email you back. I'm really good about email. I'll email back in 24 hours if I'm not sick or, traveling. And it's Steven at thesuka, TheSukha.co for company. So Steven at the Suka company. I won't write you back 19 paragraphs. You don't want to hear the story of my life. I don't want to write it to you, but I will give you a link to like, oh, here's the book on flow, or here's, Cal Newport's thing on time blocking, or here's a great, playlist on YouTube. So open anyone who wants. You can put in the show notes if you want.
Yeah, you know what? I will do that. So everyone who's listening, check out the podcast description. There's some goodness there waiting for you.
There you go.
Steven Puri, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot.
Yeah, this is awesome. And anyone who's only listening to this, you've got to look at the video because Jim has the coolest background. I'm like, I'm seriously regretting my choice of background. That's awesome.
Thanks. That's $20 I owe you right there.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, have fun. Thank you guys for listening. Whoever's still here, God bless your little souls.
Yes. Well, my time is up. I thank you for yours. I'll see you again real soon right here with a brand new episode of the Jim Stroud Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. I can be reached by email at jimstroud@jimstroud.com. And one last favor, if I may ask, please rate this podcast. 5 stars is preferred, but please comment with your honest opinion. I really appreciate that. All right. Okay, until next time, bye bye.